Good morning and welcome to Lord of Life and welcome to our daily devotion. We're glad you're joining us this morning. Today is April 12th, 2021. I'm Rob Henderson, and I want to thank you for taking a moment to pause, reflect, and maybe regroup for the day. On Easter, Mary arrives in the cemetery. She's wrecked by grief. She comes expecting death, and the risen Savior speaks her name, and it is in the familiarity of her name on the lips of her friend that Mary experiences new life. For Peter, it is in the early morning, after a night of bad fishing. Jesus is on the shore tending a fire, and it happens over a piece of broiled fish that Peter experiences redemption and grace. For a couple of followers on the pathway to Emmaus, it is in welcoming a stranger who they meet along the way into their home for a quick bite to eat. And it is in the breaking of the bread that they experience renewal. For Paul, it is in a blinding light on the road to Damascus that he went from being a persecutor of the Christians to being an evangelist to the Gentiles. What about you? Where does God get your attention? In what moments are you caught off guard by a glimpse of God's grace? I am delighted that we will be taking a group of youth on a mission trip this summer into Appalachia. I often experience God's presence in the blessing of these journeys into the mission field. Sometimes I experience God's presence in the youth themselves, or in a homeowner or another leader or someone we meet along the way quite by chance. What about you? Where do you see God's love and grace at work? For some, it is in the waking up and realizing you've been blessed with another day of life. For some, it is in the first sip of steaming morning coffee. For some, it is in arriving home and being welcomed by your dog who wags his tail so fast that his whole back end shakes and he looks at you with eyes which are dripping with love. For a young woman, it is in the smelling a certain kind of cigarette smoke, the kind made with the tobacco that her grandmother used to smoke. In those moments, she feels her heart rate fall, for her grandmother was her connection to God. For some, it is a friend who shows up to take you to lunch when they know you're having a bad day. Yesterday, I was out on our deck watching the bluebirds. They're nesting in our backyard bluebird house, and they're busily preparing for their family who will hopefully arrive later this month or in early May. They work on the nest together, and they provide a soothing, songful backdrop when I want to lose myself for a few moments in nature. As the azure blue male gracefully flies from birdhouse to evergreen to maple back to birdhouse, I see God's handiwork being stitched right in front of me. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. What about you? Be on the lookout today, because so often it happens when we least expect it that God gets our attention. I want to thank you for joining us this morning for this daily devotion. I invite you to join us each morning at 11:30 for a daily devotion. Our midweek worship service takes place on Wednesdays at 11:30. Our contemporary service currently takes place on Saturdays at 4:15, but we're shifting back to Sunday mornings in mid-May. And our traditional service is on Sunday mornings at 10:45. We invite you to join us in person or on site or online for any of these worship services. Have a great week.